Hi folks, Lee Packia here, and you're watching Between the Lines, part of Fault Line's daily effort to take a look at the cracks in America's criminal justice system, and there are many, believe you me. We're joined today by JoAnne Musick. She is a contributor to Fault Lines and a criminal defense attorney based in Texas. JoAnne, good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So I want to talk about this story that you wrote for us today. It's crazy and it's fascinating. It's out of Brighton, Colorado, where school officials have suspended a 5-year-old, we don't know her name because she's 5 years old, for bringing a toy gun to school. And we're just going to put it up on the screen so people can get a sense for what we're talking about. It's not just any toy gun like a black painted water gun or whatever. This is something way more juvenile. It's totally clear, it's plastic, and it blows bubbles. It's a bubble toy gun. What the hell is going on here? Why did a 5-year-old now get this experience thrown on her for this toy?
You know, it's absolutely crazy. You're right. The bubble gun is clear. It lights up like a little kid's toy. It's got a package of bubbles hanging off the front end, and it literally blows bubbles from a little fan. What we're seeing is just a knee-jerk reaction in the schools to the zero tolerance for everything. You know, it started in the day with zero tolerance for drugs at school. Now it's morphed into zero tolerance for anything and everything. Including in Colorado, fake guns. They call it a firearm facsimile.
Yeah, I gotta say, reading this story as a child of the 80s, it brought me back to that decade. It really did start to conjure up images of Nancy Reagan and the way the war on drugs was carried out back in those years. But still, it's 2016. Why are we still adopting a zero tolerance approach in school systems around the country, particularly when, inside this same building, presumptively in Brighton, Colorado, you would have 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and 5-year-olds? These are
Right.
totally different things. I mean, did the 5-year-old even know why she was being suspended? It just seems like so unworkable, yet we're seeing it persist.
Right. There's no way that a 5-year-old can appreciate the consequences of taking a toy to school. You know, you talk about a child of the 80s. I'll go back a little further than that. But, as a child, we are excited to take toys to school. We had show and tell. You wanted to show off your new things. So I'm sure this 5-year-old kindergartner is just wanting to show her friends her cool new toy. She doesn't understand or appreciate the gravity of it. But then, of course, the school doesn't understand it either. This is a toy. It's not a fake gun. The law in Colorado is structured such that you cannot bring in a firearm facsimile, something that could be reasonably perceived to be a gun. Can't bring that on school property. And there's no way, after seeing this item, that it could be perceived to be a gun. No way
So the
whatsoever.
statute talks about reasonability?
Yes, it talks about reasonably believable as a gun,
Right.
as a real gun. So they're looking for, I think, the pellet gun or the paintball gun that looks like a semi-automatic handgun.
So is this more about a total failure on the school's part to exercise the discretion that the statute gave them, or is the statute inherently flawed in your view?
I don't think the statute's inherently flawed. I think the school has failed to exercise any discretion whatsoever. Their own school policy says it's a discretionary discipline item. But going one step further, it's only a discretionary discipline item if it's actually a fake gun. And here we're not even talking about a fake gun. So I don't think the school had uh, any grounds to discipline this child.
So what do you think is
Unless
going to happen here? The media is shining a light on this case. It's completely ridiculous. So the blogosphere is going to run wild with this story. Do you think the school's going to think that they did something wrong here and take corrective measures, or do you think they're just going to stand pat?
I think they're going to stand pat. I don't see them taking corrective measures. They've said that they've done the similar thing with Nerf guns and other toys at school. We all know those Nerf guns are bright plastic colors. They have giant foam pieces hanging out. There's no way you're going to believe that to reasonably, to reasonably be a firearm. So I think the school's just way off the reservation here,
Yeah.
and their own policy doesn't back them up.
I get that it's hard to run a school in America in 2016. There's budgetary pressures, there's violence everywhere, and it seems to be increasing every day. There's social and technological phenomena that are changing, childhood as we know it. But stories like this just blow my mind. I mean, someone along the way here could have stepped in and said, look, this is ridiculous. We're not going to give, a 5-year-old, all the psychological trauma that comes along with being suspended from school for something so benign and harmless at the end of the day. But yet here we are. Kind of weird, huh?
It is very weird. And her own mother even said that the poor child didn't even want to go to school the next day. She was afraid she's going to go get in trouble again. She really doesn't understand why she got in trouble, why she got kicked out of school. And then, so now they're going to make it an unpleasant environment for her. Do we not want our youth to go to school? We don't want them to enjoy it? It makes no sense to me. But I really do think you hit the nail on the head there when you said it's budgetary issues and all that. The school has, they rely on taxpayer money. Taxpayers look for results. They look for safety. They want to believe that it's the zero tolerance is good for everybody.
Yeah, it's a high pressure situation. It just seems like this is the result of all that high pressure. People came out with zero tolerance. We're going to, cover our ass as best we can. And this is the rule, and we're going to apply it
indiscriminately.
Right.
And that's the problem. It's like there's the same rule applies to everybody. They don't take into account the child's age, the motivation, the circumstances. We see stories where mother packs a butter knife in this child's school lunch so they can cut an apple, and all of a sudden they're charged with a weapon at school. And there's a big difference between a 5-year-old and maybe a 10-year-old that's in the 5th grade, or a senior who's 17, 18 years old. A 5-year-old just doesn't have the ability to appreciate the consequences.
Yeah, if you pull on this intellectual thread here, you almost end up at a point where schools are just going to look like maximum security prisons in the future. I mean, that's the way to make sure that nothing bad potentially happens and everything's a totally controlled environment, and no one gets hurt.
Yeah, sadly, they do look like those maximum security facilities now. You have to pass through a metal detector at most schools that I've been to. You get screened when you come in. Your backpack gets searched. There's no just going to school and having a good day.
Yeah.
And there's cops everywhere. So,
JoAnne, fascinating story. Thank you for talking to us about it.
Thank you so much.
That's JoAnne Musick from Fault Line. She's also a criminal defense attorney based in Texas. If you'd like to see more of the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out online. You can find us at mimesislaw.com under the Fault Lines tab. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you are watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's more good stuff coming, and we could always use your support. If you're listening to us as a podcast, do us a favor and write us a positive review in iTunes. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm Lee Pacquiao. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Cybersecurity is a massively complex, systemic issue. Both the private and public sectors are wrestling with it. These are threats that affect everyone around the world, from large institutions down to individuals with a credit card and a social security number. All of these issues around cybersecurity are complex in their own right, and the individual threats that we all face are as numerous as the institutions out there utilizing networks. Cypher is here to help you sort through these issues by covering the cybersecurity news of the day and bringing you the facts straight from the experts in the field. Just like the rest of the Mimesis Law network, Cypher will bring you primary source news pieces from the people who know it best. We'll help you sort through the constant stream of information to help you understand the challenges, the technology, the systems, and the cultures leading to the threats we're continuing to face. I invite you to join us here on Cypher, only from Mimesis Law.